Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Drew. This is JustAGuyLinux, and this is day 12 of our 60 videos in 60 days challenge. We've spent the last couple weeks looking at window managers and desktop setups, and today we're diving into something different. Your shell. This is ButterBash, okay? It is a modular bash configuration framework. It tackles a problem some of us hit, at least, where your bash configs grow kind of to an unmaintainable mess. So I have seen some very well constructed bash RC files that are north of 600 lines, where functions are in one section, aliases in another section. This kind of puts you in a position where it's already kind of organized for you, and you don't have to necessarily scroll. So anyway, with that said, I thought a solution was to have a modular design, much like the window managers that we talked about, where everything resides in one .config directory. The same thing could apply for your shell and your shell script. So a .config/bash, and then break things down into aliases, the prompt FCF if you are using FCF, and then the keybinds, and then have a functions directory as well within that has system and utils and so on, which is what you're seeing right here. Oops, actually, what you're seeing right here. It is broken down into these individual sections. So if you are interested, there is a couple ways to install ButterBash. If you do any of the window manager installations, you're going to know that this pops up. Do you want butterscripts? And it's an optional tools shell script, and it will install ButterBash as an option in optional tools. So I don't know, maybe that's not the best way. It is a way to do it, but you could also just go straight to the Codeberg JustAGuyLinux ButterBash and do an install right there, and you can then source your bash RC. Let me go into a little bit more detail about that. So I'm going to go over here, and codeberg.org/JustAGuyLinux/ButterBash has this bashrc.example, okay? And when you run the installer, it's going to say, hey, do you want me to back up your bash RC? Which it will. It'll make your current bash RC, and it will back it up to a time-stamped backup, okay? But this is what the bash RC will look like after installation. Now, I'm not going to lie, this is not the most suckless bash RC that you will ever see, but you will not see aliases in here. But you will see boring stuff like history configuration and environment variables, okay? But this is what makes it go. It goes through every .bash file within the user.config/bash directory and then sources it. That's it. That's why when you create something, anything .bash, it just works. This loop automatically loads it. And it's the same for the function directory, automatic loading with error handling, so that one broken module doesn't crash your whole shell. Let's assume that you want ButterBash across like multiple machines, but every machine might be different. So it will also load this local override. So it's going to look for the .bashrc.local in order for you to have a machine-specific setting. That is why the modular system works. Your .bashrc is now just the loader, just kind of orchestrating, and all the actual functionality lives in an organized module with files. It's kind of just automatic. Plug and play, I guess. Now, since everything lives in that .config/bash directory, let's go ahead and look at individual files. For example, you got your aliases.bash and all your command shortcuts, navigation aliases, ls variants, lives right here. File operations, git shortcuts, and even system info aliases. So with regard to let's actually move the prompt over here because that's what I want to look at. The prompt, your shell prompt configuration, this handles the get aware prompt that shows your current branch and status. The FZF bash is a fuzzy finder integration, so it does reverse history search with Control R. I like this, by the way, this VF function. I think that's really cool. We'll talk about that later. So it does file finding and process searching. Keybinds, if you want, you could just say, oh yeah, Control L, clear screen, and so on. And you get an idea that you could add keybinds here if you really want them. There's hardly anything here. Systems.bash. System.bash and utils.bash both reside in the functions directory. So if you're looking for a function or if you want to create an additional function, you can add it to this directory. This one has a few things. It has sysinfo, which is very fast fetch or neofetch like. So if I say sysinfo, it gives me some information about this system. Man gives colored man pages function. So I don't know if I have something, but let's just say man in Vim. Okay, so it's not going to give me a lot of color. What if I hit the help? Yeah, I mean, there is some color here, obviously. So there you go. I'll clear the screen. Let's go back over here. And then you also have utils.bash. So if you want to back up or extract something, you can do that. You can just say extract and then one of these file formats and it will do that for you. I think that let's test out the backup thing. So let's just say, what have I got here? If I say, backup the config.def.h, okay, and it will give you a backup file with with actually a timestamp associated with it. There you go. Clear, and let's clear that. Let's go back over here and navigation and file listing. So it's like simple aliases like ... goes, so you don't have to go cd space ... 3 dots will allow you to go back 2 levels. Let's do that real quick. So if I'm on .config/sucklist /DWM, so if I say ... it should go back 2 levels. So there you go. Also, if you put in a dash, okay, it'll return you to the last directory that you were in. I find that helpful. With file listing, ButterBash detects if you have EZA or EXA installed. It's the modern LS replacement with icons and better formatting. And the reason, obviously, that I have a detection is because I was on Debian 12 and there was no EZA. So I had to kind of, okay, well, there's lots of people that are maybe on something that only has EZA. And now, we're all kind of on the same playing field. Anyway, so if I type LS, for example, you get a clean list of icons, directories grouped first, color-coded by file type. Let's clear. And if I say LL, it's the long format with all the details, permissions, sizes, and timestamps. If I say, I don't know if this is going to be a good example, but you know what? Let's go back one and say LT. Okay. And now you have a tree view, 2 levels deep by default, which I think sometimes is, especially with this many files, it's kind of hard to read, but at the same time, it might be valuable to you. Let's go ahead and clear. And let's go back into the DWM directory, because when I do an LH, it's going to list by modification time. So newest first. Remember, we ran that backup, and so it's perfect for finding the file that you either just backed up or the one that you just edited. Now there are some file operations that have some safety built in. So for example, in this section on the aliases.bash, you say, oh, I'm actually using copy with a -iv. Well, what does that do? Okay, so if I say copy keybinds .txt to the keybindings2.txt, it will say, oh, okay, do I want to overwrite that? Let me think about that. I'm going to say no. Okay. Same thing if I want to move a key binding, one text file to another text, or any file, doesn't matter. And it's going to ask, and you're going to say no or yes, doesn't matter. But obviously, it gives you pause when something like that is presented to you. Remove also kind of like is a prompts before removing multiple files, or if you do anything recursively, it can definitely save you from disaster. And as far as mkdir, it is using the parent switch verbose. And so if you want to create just say 3 levels deep, you can do that really quickly. The question is this revolutionary? No, this is just sanity checks. It prevents me from making dumb mistakes. You can still force operations with flags if you need to, but these defaults feel a little bit more safe to me. Let's go back over to this. Yeah, as far as utility functions, let me go over here just so I can show you something real quick. Where am I? Utils. Okay, so mkcd. It's so simple, but it's, I think, kind of useful at the same time. So let's just say, let's go back to, let's just go into the home directory and say mkcd and then test. Okay, so it created the test directory and then entered the test directory. That's all that does. So it's saving you an extra step. Now, not everybody uses Git, but if you do, there might be some shortcuts with aliases and so on that will help you be a little bit more productive. So when I look at the aliases, you're going to see a whole list here. Some of these will look very familiar, like if you have experience using Git. Others will be like, oh, hey, that's a good idea. Like, for example, Git branch. Let's use Git branch real quick. So if I go to ButterBash, okay, first of all, it's going to be a difference in terms of the prompt. I mean, the prompt it's subtle, but it is important. I mean, you're in this Git repository, the prompt shows the current branch, and here the current branch is main. So let's see if I say GCO or git checkout, and then I add the -b and then say feature test. You're going to see automatically that it switched to a new branch called feature test, and you can see that reflected in the prompt. And if I want to go back to main, I just say GCO main. Outside of the repo, it's just a clean prompt without any branch indicator. Let's go over here and look at prompt. And so you'll see, okay, does it have the prompt? Or if you're in SSH, so it is a clean, it's not flashy, it's just a status bar. It's just context when you need it and clean when you don't, I guess. Another useful feature is, let's say you have history, you're looking at your history and there's 396 things that are part of your history. If you do Control R, okay, it's going to do a reverse search using Fuzzy Finder. And if I say config, oh, there it is, backup config.def.h. Okay, well, that was what I ran. Cool. And then I can if I want to, I can just simply click on that. Now it's going to fail because I'm not in the right directory, but you get the idea. That you can find something in reverse in your history, and that sometimes is very useful. Now, I can go over a lot of this stuff, but it's just getting too much already, I feel. So let me go over just this one more thing, this open file. It's a function in the fzf bash. So let's just go ahead and clear the screen here. So if I type vf, so I'm going to use the abbreviation visual file finder or something like VF, and I hit enter, okay? And then I say, okay, config.def.h. Now you're going to see, wow, okay, there's a bunch here, all right, and including in the trash. But there's st.config.def, there's DWM, there's tabbed, and then there's also a few others here. So let's just go with the top one, okay? And you can see like a little bit of a snippet here, but if I click on this, it's going to just pull this up in my text editor, and this happens to be NeoVim. And so I'm able to just, make whatever changes that I need. I'm going to go back over here because, like I said before, I could go on, I guess, and look at every single command, and that's just going to be a really stinking long video. Why does modular matter? Yeah, I don't know that it does, but it wins with me because everything has its own place. It's much more maintainable. I mean, you could have 2,000 lines of configuration across 15 files, and it's still manageable because everything has its place. Version control is cleaner. I mean, consider changing your FZF config. The git diff will show changes in your fzf.bash and not line 437 of your .bash rc. I think that's a really strong way to maintain. Also, by the way, if you want to share with a friend, someone says, hey man, I like your git aliases. Can you send them to me? All you need to do is send them your aliases.bash. They don't need the entire shell. Now, is ButterBash perfect? No, it is not. Not even close. In fact, it is very opinionated, and I choose Bash over ZSH, even though tomorrow we're going to talk about ButterZSH. And I did that for ZSH users, but the aliases and the functions reflect how I work. And so you might prefer different shortcuts, and that's totally cool. But I believe, and let me highlight this right here, ButterBash is not minimalist. If you're a suckless purist and you want a 20-line bash RC with 0 features, this is not it. We've got welcome messages and colored man pages, the interactive confirmations. There's a lot of convenience to this, but overall, no, not minimal. And it has dependencies. I mean, they're really not dependencies. They are optional, but if you want the full experience, you would want them installed clearly. Tomorrow, day 13, and we are talking about ButterZSH. So until then, later.